can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence, he died? Damn, B. Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to.
To eulogize means to speak well of. And I wonder what Charlie Kirk would say about Charlie Kirk. Because his death stood in stark contrast to the way he lived and the things he believed and the things he espoused. He often talked about black criminality. He often talked about the high crime rates among black people. He spent his life saying that black people basically were inferior and they were superior. Apparently, he's never met a qualified black person that didn't earn it through merit. They were all set aside as a DEI. He spent his life talking about empathy and how it was necessary. He spent his life talking about the necessity of people dying for the preservation of an amendment, a piece of paper. He spent his life categorizing people and percentagizing people and slanting things to present a certain aspect of things. He died forwarding the notion that it's black people who are responsible for gun death. His last words were gang violence. But he wasn't shot. He wasn't shot. We know it was because we know who it wasn't. First off, Charlie Kirk was not assassinated. He was shot. The congressmen in Minnesota, they were assassinated because they were shot for their political views. Charlie Kirk was shot. And Charlie Kirk was shot doing the very thing he'd always done, percentagizing and blaming and minimizing and saying these things are not true. These things, his last words were gang violence. But we know who it was because we know who it wasn't. 3 words let you know they weren't black. It was Utah and at large. Now, if Charlie Kirk, we're looking at a situation with Charlie Kirk, would he say he was the victim of crime or white on white violence? Because what Charlie Kirk always talked about was how many black people kill black people. But he never talked about how many white people kill white people.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the
you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the.
Oh, really? Then who are you? What do you believe, Charlie Kirk? Because you know what I think when I see a white guy of medium to low intelligence with a huge audience because he spews racist and other bigoted ideas? I think they've been handed everything they've ever had. Do you know how difficult it probably was for that black pilot to get where they are? Don't project your shit onto them. Just because your path to fame and fortune was paved with gold doesn't mean that's how it's been for everybody else.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Louder, back with another video. So comedian and legendary actor DL Hughley has come out to call out the hypocrisy by the Donald Trump's government in the empathy and support they're showing to Charlie Kirk after he was unfortunately unalived. Well, DL Hughley claims Charlie Kirk was a known racist, a bigoted person, an extremist, and a man that lived his life trying to demonize black people and paint black people in a bad light, theming them violent, lazy, and irresponsible. Without hesitating, I want you all to listen to what DL Hughley had to say and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Peace.
So, Charlie Kirk was shot yesterday at a school in Utah by obviously a white assailant, because there are 3 words that let me know instantly. I can tell you who it is because I can tell you who it ain't. There are 3 words that let me instantly know it wasn't a black guy, because 3 words are Utah and at large. So how is it that Charlie Kirk wasn't shot in a black city, in a black district, at an HBCU? Why is it that HBCUs are under attack? And I heard a comedian I saw a comedian who I love and respect say, well, you know, people stalking stuff on Facebook or social media. Social media, there are 41.3 million black people in this country. All of them were talking like that. And there are only roughly 285,000 people that attend HBCUs, and only 73% of them are black. So is it that you know exactly who it was, or is it that any black person will do? The truth of the matter is that in this country, no matter what happens, no matter who does it, America will find a way to point the finger at black people who are thousands of miles away. I don't know if there, I'm pretty sure there's not an HBCU in all of Utah. But now, because a white guy kills another white guy thousands of miles away, HBCU is under attack, and people will find a way to justify it. I feel bad today, and I feel bad because I'm having a hard time reconciling how I feel with how I should feel. I should feel a certain way because a young man lost his life in a very tragic way, in a very callous way, in a very evil way in front of his family, in front of his loved ones. It was a terrible specter to watch. And I want to feel a sense of empathy. But I want to feel it for a man who espoused empathy as weakness. I want to feel it for a man who had that happen to anybody else besides him would have thought that that was acceptable for his belief system. I want to feel that way who has said to a man who said some of the most heinous, racist, bigoted things I've ever heard. I think Rush Limbaugh, he's the embodiment of Rush Limbaugh without the drug problem. He's a human being, and on that part, I have to say that as a human to human, there is obviously a modicum of compassion I would feel for somebody. But it isn't as resonant, as deep as it should be, and that is to my great lament. Every time I watch a white guy in America tells me how much he loves Christ and how he is a follower of Christ, I listen long enough to hear him tell me how much he hates people and who he hates and why they're inferior and all of the problem with them. It makes me sad that a man that was so young, that had his whole life in front of him, literally was killed by people who had some of the same mindsets he did. People who believed some of the things he did. It makes me sad that a man lived his life and literally died with a lie on his lips. I know that I am flawed. I know that I'm human. I want to be better. But it is so hard for me to feel a sense of compassion and a simple sense of empathy who told me it was weak when I watched him say the most heinous things in the world. So I will leave it with this. I am going to do my best to find a place in my heart that I can reconcile this with myself. But I can honestly say this. I hope he died believing what he was saying. That's a little note from the GED section.